Hi guys, it's Debbie, and today I'm here to speak about a film which I saw this weekend and which I've been waiting for a very long time, and that is Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a 2016 superhero film based on the Marvel character by the same name, so Dr. Stephen Strange. Doctor Strange is a successful, although often arrogant and selfish neurosurgeon portrayed by Benedict Cumberbatch, which loses the use of his hands in a car accident. Obviously can't continue his work as a surgeon because one of the most serious consequences of his accident is the fact that he can't manage to move his hands as he used to do. They tremble all the time and his movements are very limited. So he becomes very depressed as he feels as though his life has no meaning without his work. He attempts different medical procedures to solve his problems. None of them work or none of them are approved as they are still experimental. In the end, he discovers in the Himalayas a group of people which are believed to manage to cure people who have his kind of problems. So he travels there and discovers that, as a matter of fact, they are not doctors who cure ill people, but they are a group of people guided by the Ancient One, portrayed by Tilda Swinton, who have learnt to move past the physical world, the world we see every day, and travel between the infinite number of dimensions that exist. They also develop a series of special powers which they use for the greater good. One of the Ancient One's students, Caecilius, has used these powers he has learnt in the Himalayas for his evil plans. So he's trying to summon a darker dimension in order to abuse of his powers and inflict pain and violence to reach immortality. At first, Doctor Strange doesn't understand or doesn't accept what these people are doing in the Himalayas because obviously, as he is a man of science, he has studied medicine, he just understands the physical world and doesn't understand what they are doing. But soon he starts studying very hard and understands what they're doing, and also learns that he is very gifted. And although he has some difficulties at first, he learns very quickly how to use his powers. So soon he has to help the Ancient One and her other students in fighting against the dark dimension. I personally found Doctor Strange a very good superhero film with absolutely stunning visual effects, because the people who manage to enter the dimensions can warp time and space, creating beautiful and frightening situations in which the reality we see starts to bend in on itself or split up, or this starts twisting. So we have some scenes, for example the opening fight, in which the two sides, good and evil, are fighting on the side of a building, so defying the laws of gravity, jumping from one side to another while this building is completely twisting on itself. So we see windows moving. So it's obviously absolutely beautiful, but it also shows how working in different dimensions can be very dangerous. Visual effects were influenced by Escher and the surrealist art, and we can really see the attempt to incorporate action scenes with the visual effects. And the director, Scott Derrickson, said he wanted to completely avoid just thinking which CGI thing can hit the other CGI thing harder. The film is also available in 3D, which should allow our minds to bend even more as the film shows us the visual effects. I also liked how Benedict Cumberbatch portrayed his character of Doctor Strange. Maybe it's because he has this naturally elegant way of being and acting, which allowed him to portray the surgeon who just gives for granted everything he's always known and tends to be selfish and very arrogant. Cumberbatch compared his character of Doctor Strange with the character of Sherlock Holmes, which he plays in the series Sherlock, calling them both intelligent and stating that there are many similarities between the two. Cumberbatch also felt very close to the figure of Doctor Strange because he spent 1 year in a Buddhist monastery in India teaching English, and since then spirituality has been very important for him. Other members of the cast are Chiwetel Ejiofor, Tilda Swinton, Mickelson, Rachel McAdams, and I found that each and every one of them portrayed very well the character they were acting out, correctly conveying all their feelings and choices. I particularly liked Tilda Swinton's Ancient One because she really shows that elegant, calm attitude and also the worries of who has such big responsibilities as she has in this world and in this universe. Another feature I appreciated is the fact that the film doesn't fall into the usual superhero film mistake of filling the dialogue with joke after joke. Doctor Strange has a lot of comedy in it, but it's still placed just at the right moment with just the right tone, and it doesn't make the film a sinking comedy. And for once, we see that superheroes have flaws. We see that superheroes ask questions. They don't just give for granted the fact that they have superpowers from one day to another, or because of some new sudden experiment. They question what's going to happen to them. They wonder what's going to happen. In this film, Doctor Strange actually asks, but how is that possible? When the Ancient One explains of how moving into one dimension and the other, he says, okay, that's all very fine, but how is it physically possible that I can do something like this? And he says he wants to be cured of his problems, so it's very realistic. We have the problems that these superheroes have. They don't just give for granted their powers. They are flawed like us. They can be arrogant, they can cry, they can feel weak. So the film could have just fallen into the usual superhero film pattern of cliches, jokes, and CGI, but it definitely exceeded our expectations, creating a beautiful product. Let me know if you saw Doctor Strange and what you thought about it, maybe in comparison to other superhero films which have been recently released. See you soon in a new video. Bye!